Hi, welcome to Inspired. I'm Jackie, your host, and today our show is She Rose Who Served. And today I have a fantastic group of women that are here that served in the military. And ladies, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Ethel Burns, and I'm retired. I spent 20 years in the Air Force.
Liberta Williams. I retired and I did 21 years in the Air Force.
Shawnee Kelly Cowan. I did 4 years in the Army.
Lynn Brinson. I served for 3 years active duty and 2 years reserve time.
Narelle Buckner Rashahid, and I did 4 years in the Navy.
Okay, and I did Air Force in 8 years, 7 months, and 13 days. Exact, okay. So ladies, tell me, what inspired you to join the military?
I don't mind going first. From the age of 12 until 19, I'm originally from Detroit, and I was in foster care all those years due to just family problems with my parents. They couldn't seem to get it together, so my siblings and we were all split up and sent to foster homes. And in high school back then, because I graduated in 1973, and back then, when I was in the 11th grade, the recruiter came around and administered the test. And when I looked at that young man in that uniform, and I don't even remember what branch of the military. I can only assume it was probably Army, but anyway, I said that's what I wanted to do, because at that time, going to college was like going to the moon. That was not a natural progression of people in my neighborhood.
Okay.
And I wanted to see the world, so I was able to join the Air Force.
Great, great. And how about you?
My uncle inspired me. I used to, it was 5 of us. I always knew I wanted to be career-minded, educated, and I always I didn't know if I wanted to be in the Air Force at the time, but I knew, with 5 children in the house, college was probably like, that'd be too expensive for my mother to pay for. And I saw my uncle in his uniform like you, and he was just handsome, and he was in the Air Force. We used to pick him up at the airport when he would come home on leave, and he would come down that escalator, and I'd be like, boy, that's what I'm talking about.
Looking dignified.
And so when it was my time, he always told me, the Army recruiters, everybody was coming around. He was like, no, you don't want to go in any of the other services. You want to go in the Air Force. And I had never met my father at the time, but I knew he was also in the Air Force.
Okay.
And that's another story, because I did get to meet him while I was in the Air Force, so at 30 years old. But both of them kind of inspired me that's what I wanted to do.
That's great. How about you, Shawnee?
So the men in my family were in the Army. My uncles, my grandfather, and I had a grandfather that was in the Navy. And so when we would get letters from different countries, they had tours and duties where they were located and things of that nature. It just kind of inspired me because it was something different than my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And a lot of my sisters and cousins before me didn't go to the service, and I was just always curious, what is that life about? And so that's what inspired me to go ahead and go forward and join the service. I felt like they could do it, I could do it too.
Great, great. And it's kind of funny because when I was in high school, I'm originally from California, and there was an Army recruiter that came to our high school. I think they had maybe the ROTC, the Army ROTC, and I just figured, let me ask him some questions. Plus, too, I had good grades, but I wasn't for sure if I wanted to do almost 8 years because I wanted to be an attorney. And I said, well, if I go in the military, they'll pay for it. So, of course, they give you the spiel, the recruiters, this and that. And it's like, oh, okay, they'll pay for my college. And so I was initially going to go in the Army. And I did a summer working at the recruiter's office, kind of like doing their admin and stuff, because I was taking business classes in high school. So I would answer their phones and stuff like that in the Army recruiter's office. And I saw, no offense to the Army, No offense to the Army, but I saw some people that was kind of questionable coming in the Army recruiter's office. So I was like, if they got more like them in the Army, I don't know if I want to join. So the Air Force recruiter's office, seriously, true story, was next door. And I was like, okay, I know I don't want to join the Marines. Navy, I can't swim, so that was a no-brainer. And so I said, well, who's left? The Air Force. So that's how I journeyed to the Air Force.
Kind of similar story. I originally was going to join the Air Force.
Okay.
And my two older brothers were in the Army. And my oldest brother, he said, why Air Force? And I really didn't know. I just liked the blue better, I guess. But he said, why don't you consider all branches before you pick one? So, like you, it was a process of elimination. Well, I'm not going to do the Marine thing.
Yeah.
Too much water for the Navy. And I somehow connected with an Army recruiter.
Okay.
And I seemed to like what he said better. So I joined the Army, and that's how it went.
Okay.
So
Well, I had a hard life at home, and well, in the 8th grade, they gave us a field trip to Central State, and they had a lot of questionable people running around there. Some of them smelled like alcohol, and you saw them smoking and stuff. So I didn't want to go to college after that. So then, well, they had Navy recruiters and Navy, like, you know, like when they brought the, I guess, ROTC into the high schools.
Okay.
We had Navy ROTC, but I wasn't in it.
Now, see,
or
I've never
anything.
seen a Navy ROTC. Have you guys?
Yeah, Dunbar.
Yeah, I've
They
never
had
seen
Belmont?
that.
Dunbar, yeah.
Oh, Belmont.
Well,
I think
yeah,
my sister
Dunbar,
was
they
in
had it.
ROTC Navy.
And a friend of mine was in it, but she never went into the Navy. But they had it there. But that's not the reason why I went in there. I had a hard life at home, and I went in the first one that took me, or the first one that, well, the Navy, the rest of them, I had to wait like 2, 3, 6 months. In the Navy, I went in 7 days late, 7 days after
Wow,
graduation.
okay.
So that's how I went into the Navy. So.
Anybody else was on a delay or anything
was
like
on a
that?
delay.
Yeah, I was on
Yeah,
a
6
delay
months.
too.
small delay.
Yeah, small delay too.
I left on an hour's notice because the young lady that was on the list ahead of me broke her leg, and I was at my summer job, and my recruiter called me and said, "You want to leave today?" I said, "Sure."
Wow.
When I woke up that morning, I was in Detroit, and when I went to bed, I was in San Antonio.
So, do you recall the feelings that you had or the emotions when you guys went to basic training, like your first night?
Oh yeah, I was scared. I was crying.
You cried?
Yeah, because at that time when we came in, you know, like now it's like baby, but when we came in, your instructors, they could holler and scream, and from
Yeah,
the
that's
time we
true.
got, from the time that bus parked, oh, you maggots, get off the bus. I was in a strange land, and I was scared. I was like, oh my Lord, what did I do?
Yeah, that's what I said. What did I get myself into? You know, yeah, it's funny.
Because I remember the first night when we walked into the dorm, there was just this big lady, and she was just sitting at the desk in the day room, stone-faced, you know, and nobody was saying one word, you know. Oh my gosh. I was kind of excited because it was a whole new world, as it says, as the song says. So.
I was expecting more yelling. 'Cause I had watched Private Benjamin and my brothers were teasing me because they thought it was funny that I was joining because I was number 8 of 9 kids, and they felt like I got away with more than they did. So the whole idea was funny that I was going. So I anticipated a lot of yelling and, like you said, in your face kind of stuff, but I guess I anticipated more, so it wasn't a big deal. And I guess I prepared myself not to take it personal, and I didn't.
Yeah, you pretty much have to. It's
Yeah.
almost, it was a mental game. You know, it's like, okay, I'm only going to be here for a certain amount of time, you know, and this is just going to be a small phase of my military career, you know. So I'm going to just get through it and go on about my business.
And
But-
see, I didn't know that. I just assumed I would experience that and continue in that place
Okay.
for whatever amount of time and then go somewhere else. I didn't know how brief it was going to be.
Now, how long was your
I
basic
think
training?
it was 6 weeks. Yeah. Wasn't it 6 weeks?
6 to 8 weeks.
It's
Yeah, I
been so
think it's
long.
longer now because my
Okay.
son is a TI down in San Antonio, and he gets to tell the new recruits what to do. I was like, I would never want him for my recruiter. He is a no-nonsense type of guy. I mean, he's a good, you know, but he's straight by the book. But yeah, I'm like, oh, did I raise him? I wasn't like that. At least I hope I wasn't. You know. So, yeah.
It was on the 20. It was August when I went in, and 23 August '73. Oh my gosh! I thought the temperature in San Antonio
Yeah.
was really
Yeah.
different than the
Yeah.
temperature in Detroit.
It's hell hot.
Yes.
That's hell
She
hot.
went, yeah.
Yes. I went July and
January.
August of '79.
I went in
And
January, and by the time we were leaving, we didn't even have to run anymore because it was already hot by March. It was
oh
already hot.
wow, lucky you.
Yes, we didn't
Yes.
have to run either. Well, you straggled. And at tech school up in Wichita Falls.
Oh, Shepherd?
Yes, back
Okay.
in 1973, we were Women's Air Force, WAFs. We didn't have to march to school. The bus came to our dorm and picked us up.
Well, they cut that out in '79 because that's
Right.
that wasn't the lifestyle I was accustomed to in July of '79. Yeah. Wow.
We were in the WAF squadron, so all we had to, and there was a WAF advisor, and it's like they picked the biggest, meanest looking woman to be the WAF advisor. At least the one that was there at the time I went through tech school. All you had to say was that young man looked at me funny. She'd handle him.
Wow.
Oh, and also one other thing in basic training, we had makeup classes.
What?
There was someone from.
Wow.
Okay.
We didn't wear no makeup.
What kind of military was you in?
If I recall.
What year did you go?
I came in 1986, but we did have makeup class, and that was one of the things that was very interesting to me.
I had never heard of that.
No, we didn't have
Me
makeup,
either.
but you didn't wear no makeup.
Yes.
So we got a chance to wear makeup in the 5th week when we got a chance to work. When in the 5th week, you had pretty much passed everything, and you could get your hair done and put on makeup or whatever in the
Yes,
5th
you
week.
get your hair done.
Taught you how, because it was a lady that was contracted from, it was a store, back then it was called Josky's, and I don't know if they're still in Texas, but they're comparable to Macy's or
Okay.
Dillard's. And she came, and that was her job. I believe once a week that was the first time I'd ever had my eyebrows tweezed. It's probably why I don't have it. And how to wear, because we had to wear gloves with our Class A's, and and the only time you wore pants was your utility pants, so you had them skirts on, and just how to basically be a women's Air Force.
Now, see, but we were in the same branch, and I didn't know anything about that. You know,
I didn't know anything about the WAF,
Yeah.
like you said, because when I got to Colorado, it was cold, and there was no bus. They said everybody out, and I was like, "We can march in that stuff."
now this was your basic
That's
training.
Basic training was Lowry, Colorado for me.
Okay,
you know,
see, we went
and
to San Antonio,
Yes. 'Cause
Lackland
I
Air
was
Force
in-
Base.
I was in supply systems, so supply systems class was taught at Lowry. So that's
Okay.
where I went for my tech school.
Okay, tech school. Okay, so you didn't go to San Antonio for
Not
your
for
basic
tech school.
training?
Basic training was in San Antonio for
Okay.
6 weeks, and then once I graduated from that,
Okay.
I had to be flown off to Colorado for tech school.
Because there was very few places that you flew to for your tech school, and definitely Colorado. Because going to from San Antonio to Wichita Falls, that was a 10-hour. It seemed like it was a 10-hour bus ride. Oh God,
Man, yeah. I went to Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi. Still hot.
Yes,
And actually, like I said, I'm originally from California. We had a major hurricane Hurricane David in '79, and at that time it was like one of the worst hurricanes that ever, went through there. And I thought the world was going to come to an end. I had never seen anything like that before. It was very scary. And then, of course, our tech school was kind of delayed because, the base had just got destroyed and stuff. So yeah, so that was one of the major highlights of my tech school time. So yeah. How about you guys? How about your tech school? And
Well, I didn't go to tech school. I went to airman apprenticeship training.
okay,
So, but I worked in supply.
supply.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but since I was an airman, it was called aviation storekeeper, and I trained other people on how to do supply work and stuff.
As where did you go?
Miramar, California, but my basic training was at Orlando,
Oh,
Florida.
nice. Oh, that was vacation.
She said probably not to you at the time.
It was hot, and then around I went June the 18th of 1985, and I went to apprenticeship training in August, and it was like hurricane time.
Yeah, that's
And I
hurricane
got
season.
extremely sick down there during that time because they had us marching and running in the rain.
Oh,
and stuff.
wow,
And
yeah.
It was, I got really sick. And yeah.
So you're out there,
So-
Top Gun, Miramar.
Yeah, I was there when they did that. And they
Did the film? Oh, wow. How neat.
Yeah. But actually, I didn't know they were. And I
Okay.
went on leave, I was here.
Oh.
And I went back out there and they had filmed it. I was so mad.
Now, had any of you guys traveled outside before you went in the military? Had you been to other places?
Stateside, but not
Yeah,
country.
stateside.
Yeah, stateside.
Just stay so.
What about your training?
I part of my reason for joining the military was to see the world, and I had my basic training and AIT about 3 hours from my house.
Kentucky?
It
Were
was
you in
at
Kentucky?
Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
I was
Okay.
going to say that when we was talking about basic training, they called it relaxing Jackson, but nothing was relaxing
No.
about it. Oh, you got relaxing Jackson? I was like, when did the
Nothing
relaxing part
about
come
it.
in?
Nothing about it. I was on Tank Hill. They talk about Tank Hill.
That
one of
hill?
Those old World War I or II barracks, open bay, showers were open bay, water was cold. So yeah, I joined the Travel the World and I spent from February to July at Fort Jackson.
Wow.
And I was 71 Lima, which is a clerk typist. And my first and last duty station was Fort Lewis, Washington
Okay.
State.
Washington State. How did you like it up there?
It's beautiful. You can snow ski and water ski in the same day. Yes.
Almost like here. I call Ohio's weather bipolar. 'Cause no offense to the mental health, nobody get mad at me, but Ohio weather is bipolar. You don't know where the flip flops and sandals, and then you got the polar bear coat and stuff. So, yeah,
But it rains
rains a lot.
every day.
I bet you're so green and pretty up there.
It is though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool. So, did you guys find any challenges when you were in the military? And did you face any challenges? I mean, like being away from home for the first time, or what challenges did you face?
Yeah, it was always an adjustment. Like you said, being at home, away from family, because like she said, she joined the military to travel. Well, I was kind of shocked because when she came back in basic training and the first assignment, she said, "Oh, you're going to Panama." And I said, "Panama City, Florida." She said, "No, Panama Canal." I was like, "What?" I had never even been out of the country at that point. So, so my first assignment was overseas. And I'm like, nobody over there but me. So it was an adjustment. It was an adjustment to life. It was an adjustment to, work, trying to learn your career, what's your mission, who you are as a person,
Yeah.
just all those things, you know, when you're only 20, you know, and you're on your own.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of those challenges. You know, you still have a lot of angels along the way.
Yes, I totally
A
agree.
lot of people are along the way that are there. You know, your coworkers are there. You know, and you become a real family unit with them. They become your
Definitely.
family. You know,
Definitely.
because you're far away from home and you're always, you know, you're with them. You know, and they're kind of guiding you, so you don't really fall into the wrong hands, the wrong crowd. You know, you get to learn, you know, what you're actually doing in the military and what your mission actually is. So it was kind of fun, but you know, when I came in, I think I was the only, it might have been three females working in the warehouse when I came in at the time. And I already knew that when I came in, because my aspiration was always computers. You know, I always knew I wanted to work somewhere in computers. Technologies was beginning to come online more, and so I came in as a warehouseman, but I already knew, you know, supply has a computer room. So eventually, I'm going to go that route. And at that time, the challenge was all the technology was coming in. So all the older civilians, older people, they never really wanted to work on those computers. So as they were coming in, I was inspired and ready to go. And so anytime they had a problem, they were like, and I was in Panama, my first assignment. So a lot of the civilians spoke, you know, Panamanian. And so Benga caught me and come here. They was like, go get Liberta. Benga caught. Hurry up. Show me how to do this. Show me how to do this. I need to be like, I was thrilled.
Right.
And so before my 3 years was over with, my supervisors had already had my cross-training paperwork already processed. They already knew you're going in the computer room straight.
Okay.
You know, so people took care of me. You know, as far as, you know, learning how to be away from home, learning how to, you finally receiving a check, you're getting paid, you're like, wow, you know, how to manage your money, you know, and the older civilians are telling you, you're in Panama. Do not buy a new car. Do not, you know, think just because you're getting a paycheck now you want a new car. Just buy you some $800 car. You can get around this island. You know, when you get back home, 4 years, now you got some money in the bank, then go buy you a car. So, you know, you had it was fun.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, my first duty station was supposed to be in Sicily, Italy,
Oh,
but I didn't get a chance to go. I got knocked and went to Miramar, California
okay.
for the whole time.
Oh, that would have been really nice to, you know, travel, actually see. Now, did anyone go into the military after high school? 'Cause
I did.
Yeah,
I
7
did.
days later.
4 years after.
4 years after?
Yeah.
Now, was that adjustment for you being on your own for a period of time and then going in taking orders and?
Actually, I was never on my own. I think that was enough. As we're talking about this, I'm seeing other reasons why I joined. Out of high school, I went to community college, and I quit because I wanted to make more money. And
Definitely not the military.
right, and I ended up in a factory, and I'm like, not doing this. So, and I had bought a car, and I'm like, okay, I can't do this. I got laid off. What am I gonna do? Because I'm keeping my car. So I'm now recalling all the reasons why I joined. And I grew up in a small town, home of Nina Simone. Small town, everybody knew everybody.
One red light, one stoplight?
Yes.
No, seriously?
Probably 3.
Okay.
Yeah, probably 3 stoplights. And I wanted to be away from home. I felt like it was time. I was 21, thought I could grow. And I think it encouraged me to grow. I had a hard time, again, I'm recalling stuff, I had a hard time doing hospital corners. And I remember my bunkmate showing me that several times. And I remember having a hair issue. The drill sergeant in AIT would, I tried to be discreet and low key, but my hair gave me away. Shaka Khan, get your hair together. That was, and I would have my, my peers do my hair, because my mother always pressed my hair, or I always had a perm, but you have to keep it off your collar.
Right,
and all
yeah,
this
yeah.
managing stuff. So I mean, I recall that stuff and I find humor in it. But yeah, it helped me grow.
You know, when we got there, they cut our hair just straight across. They,
They
yeah,
cut your hair?
Yeah, they like combed it straight back, and they cut it right across there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we had an option. That's why we put ours back. It was like scissors. No, I'll take care of that when these 6 weeks is over with.
Yeah.
I'll just keep it up in a ponytail.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
no choice.
Yeah, Air Force.
Shaved all the boys' bald. They cut ours straight across the back.
Yeah, Air Force didn't do that, and a lot of the black women that was in my squadron, you know, we braided each other. Well, not we. I didn't braid anyone's hair, but they braided my hair.
We wasn't
So we
allowed
were
to wear
able-
braids.
You weren't allowed to wear braids. Wow.
That's how I was shocked at some of the people that wear braids now. Like my daughter-in-law, she was wearing braids. Well, my son don't, but he about to get out. He been in for 8 years in the Army, but she was allowed to wear braids. I was shocked. I was like, y'all wear braids?
Yeah.
And-
Yeah, the Air Force.
It
Yeah.
became more and more lax with the hair. Because
Yeah.
at first I think it was 2 braids, and then it kept getting easier and easier.
I think it was a matter of the culture, and they had to recognize that our culture, and that's what we do. Is
Yes.
braid, you know, is braid hair to take care of our hair.
Yeah.
And it became a social action issue sometimes because if somebody told you they didn't like your braids, you could take them to social actions because as long as you kept your hair neatly, neat, and it was
your
up,
collar.
off
Yeah.
your collar,
Yeah.
you know.
But I think not too long ago there was an issue with having locks and different other hairstyles in the military. I think it was even Air Force, and then they just passed something within the past 2 or 3 years of being allowed to wear locks, twist. I think it was twist. And, yeah.
Yeah, I've been to the base, to the store and stuff in different places, and they have, you know, braids and locks and stuff now, but you know, they have it like in a ponytail or something. you know,
Yeah, keep it
off
up.
the collar.
Because with I can only speak on the Air Force, but at first they were allowing us, because I went in 73, and at first, I guess late 70s, they started allowing us to, you know, to wear cornrows. But the movie 10, when this movie 10,
Yeah, with
came
Bo
out,
Derek.
I remember.
yes.
Yeah.
And so when our white sisters started wearing braids, wearing
The cornrows.
the mandate came down that it was a fad hairstyle, so they said no. No one could wear them at all.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yes.
Yes,
Interesting.
yes. And also, are you ladies aware that you couldn't be pregnant on active duty? When I first went in 73, you could not be pregnant.
Wow.
Well, that was the last thing on my mind in basic training anyway.
But I didn't realize
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
What would happen?
You would just get discharged, not a dishonorable, you would just get discharged.
Like a medical discharge,
Or
maybe?
just an honorable.
Yeah, it was
disarmed?
a lady in basic training that got discharged when they found out she was pregnant. Yeah, but I got pregnant in 1987. I didn't get discharged. I had my baby.
But you were out of basic and all.
Yeah, I
and
was
all
out.
of
Yeah.
your- out of all
Yeah,
of
yeah,
your
I was in
training.
regular
Yeah.
regular
Because
service.
she hadn't
yeah.
completed all of her training, so,
Oh,
you know, because
okay.
there was no way that they could put her through the training thing.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
but
true.
we was like,
Yeah.
In basic or whether you were finished, you could not be pregnant on her.
right, yeah, 'cause she was in like the 7th week out of 8. Out of 8 weeks, she was in the 7th week, and they sent her home.
Oh, wow.
I had to go through all of that, and then
And then they had one that I guess they figured out that they lied, and I guess like when you go in and you say you didn't do drugs or something, and they got the blood test or something back, and they had did 7 weeks, and they got kicked out too.
wow.
It was weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like, God, it was a lot of stuff.
And then when they changed it and you could stay in, they didn't even have uniforms, so you were granted a waiver, and you just wore your name tag with civilian clothes.
Oh,
And then
okay.
they came out with the maternity uniform.
Yeah, because they came out with the maternity clothes a lot later after I went in, because they didn't even have pants when I went in.
And you went in what year?
79.
Okay.
So actually, probably about the fall or winter of '79. That's when they came out with pants for women, because we had to wear the skirts. Yeah, I was like, that's crazy. Now we had the fatigue pants, but not the dress blues. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, but the fatigue pants they had for us.
Because when I worked in the hospital at that time, when they allowed us to, when they came out with the pantsuits, uniform pantsuits, we were so happy.
Yeah.
Because I still, I didn't find that picture of me with my dress on. You had to iron them pleats in there. There was the head nurse of the hospital at Wilford Hall. She would be standing at the door some mornings, and if you come stepping through there and that uniform was too short, you got sent back to the dormitory or home where you got to change.
So they had a uniform monitor waiting for you to come in and say, go home, nope, not working. And that's kind of funny that, the stages of our military careers, and I'm sure even more so, things have changed that we wouldn't even probably thought that they would do, when we were in, or we wanted them to do those things when we were in, and how a little bit more lax that they've gotten. Since, just even like the fatigues, because I don't know if you remember, Ethel, we couldn't wear our fatigues off base. You had to wear dress blues. Yeah, we could not wear
them only if you were like stopping to pick up milk or bread, and that was it.
Yeah,
yeah. Other than that, you weren't hanging around.
No, we did detail duty when they had the hurricane, and we were able to wear our fatigues off base. But anything else, no, it was a no-no. So when I see my son and, other people wearing it's like the camouflage fatigue, I'm just like, but it seems like they should be hot all the time, because in San Antonio, it's like burning hot, and they have those heavy fatigues. I'm like, how do they wear that stuff?
Sometimes it becomes a
I think it's
protection.
the material.
Yeah.
They've changed the material.
Maybe
They have like
pretty-
vents in the
okay.
materials.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's
'Cause-
actually kind of cool, some of them.
okay.
Winter
okay.
and summer BDU, they call them BDUs.
Okay. Now you're still active duty, correct?
No,
No.
I'm not active
Are you not active duty? Everybody's veteran. Retired or just got out.
Yes.
So what are some of the lessons that you guys learned serving your country? What lessons that you learned? And then taking it outside, being a civilian or, veteran. What lessons did you guys learn?
Be on time.
Oh.
No, I learned that.
Hurry up and wait.
I learned that the hard way.
Well, you couldn't call off sick, that's one thing. You're like, I'm not coming today. I'm not feeling
Sick call.
Yeah, sick call. Yeah,
That's the remedy. Sick
Yep.
call.
Yep.
It keeps you more organized. You always now you want to know what the rules are when you get ready to do something, because you are in the military. There's always rules or AFIs,
Regulations.
statutes, regulations. So when you go into different organizations, even work now, you're more organized, and you always want to know. So what's the expectations, or you want to know the rules up front, because
Yeah.
you're used to that already.
Right.
So.
That's when after I retired, and I worked several jobs because my son was still in high school when I retired. So, and I was in North Dakota, and I was not going to move him out of high school. So, working various jobs, and then when I relocated here to where am I at? In Dayton. And I worked at a few jobs, but it wasn't until I got hired at the post office that I was satisfied, because I was around like-minded people, because most of the people that work at the post office are veterans, and like I say, we get to outlie each other. So but you throw out, well, yes, when I went TDY, or yes, I had a friend over at SIBO. Somebody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're talking your language.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Anyone go overseas? Travel overseas?
I served overseas.
You did? Where'd you go?
I went to Iraq, well, Kuwait and Iraq.
My son went twice over there, and Afghanistan. Wow, okay. And that was only out of country that you did?
I got hurt during service, so I went to Rota, Spain,
Okay.
and then I went back home to Fort Stewart Air Force Base.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah. My first assignment was Panama.
Panama.
Then I was stationed in England,
Where in England?
Upper Haver.
I was at
closed- yeah.
Mildenhall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I closed that base.
Oh,
Upper Haver. It was
man.
about an hour from London.
Yeah, I think I can't disclose some of the stuff on here. I have to take some of that to my grave. No, it wasn't that bad. Just had a lot of fun. I loved overseas, so
Then I went to,
overseas.
Then I was stationed in Hawaii. So that was fun. Lots of fun there. And I had a tour in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, interesting.
I too was in Hawaii, but as a spouse, military spouse. My ex was stationed at Schofield.
Okay, yes, know that base.
Yeah, so yeah, Honolulu was
It was
interesting. Beautiful.
Yes, it was.
I always said, well, if I want to be homeless, if I'm ever homeless, that would be the place to be. Under a bridge in Honolulu.
Yeah, buy one-way ticket to be homeless in Hawaii.
But very expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard.
And that's why I'm glad we were on base.
Yeah, yes.
Like you said, it's very expensive. Milk in their economy is like $5 a gallon.
Yeah.
So it's very expensive.
First place I saw all fruits and vegetables sold by the pound. Couldn't buy bananas by a bunch. It's by a pound. Heads of lettuce by a pound. Alcohol sold everywhere. Grocery stores, gas stations. That was unusual, but yeah, I loved Honolulu, but I was lonely as a military spouse. It's different being a spouse and being active duty.
Okay.
So even though I worked, it was a different culture being a spouse than active duty. But my son was born over there, and we were there 2.5 years, and he opted out. And we came back to his hometown, which is Dayton.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what brought you back from Dayton.
He wanted to move to North Carolina, where I was from, and I wanted to move here, and I got my way. So,
I spent a year in Alaska and 2 years from 1975 to 1977 in the Philippines. And
That's where I was trying to go. I wanted to go to Clark. Yeah, I was trying to get there too.
the Philippines will forever be the best assignment
Man.
between the Philippines and being stationed here, because I made my last rank when I was stationed here at Wright Pat. But
Okay.
the Philippines, because when I was married at the time, we found out that I couldn't have children. But God allowed us to adopt this 3-month-old baby. And we got him basically overnight. We got him in the 1st of April. And it's ironic because that was the day that I first went to foster care, was the 1st of April.
Wow.
And we were scheduled to return to the States in October. So this was 1977, and this was the days before fax machines. So there was a lot of, of getting all of his paperwork together. And 2 weeks before we were to leave, his passport hadn't arrived to the base as promised. I said, well, I told my then husband, I said, well, I'm not leaving here without this child. So, so we had to go down to Manila to get to, and it was sitting on someone's desk.
Oh, wow.
And all the way down there, that's where because you rented cars back then, because there was no way of driving around a mountain to get to Manila, because it was still kind of underdeveloped. But I see videos of the Philippines now, and it's like, wow.
Night and day.
Yes.
Okay.
And on the car radio, that's when I heard that Elvis had died. In
Oh,
August of
wow.
77. Well, yeah, it was August of 77. I'm saying that it was, no, we were going down to process some more of his paperwork. But then we still had to go back down early October to actually pick up his passport. Yeah.
Wow.
And my son is an Air Force, well, he's a reserve. He's waiting to go, he's in the reserves right now, but he's a recruiter.
Oh, he's a recruiter.
Yes, and
So he gets to tell lies about how the military is. I've been trying to help my recruiter now because
Yeah, the truth is out now.
yeah.
They're really hard hard on recruiters now, and my daughter-in-law, she's in supply, and she's over at Osan in Korea right now
Okay.
until January. So my son is taking care of a 8-year-old daughter, his 8-year-old daughter, and his 12-year-old son, and he's combing hair every day and cooking. And
Good for him.
Right.
Good for him.
So I just visited them a couple of weeks ago. I didn't do nothing. Mom, I got it. You know?
Oh, okay, maybe we can clone him. Now, do you guys participate in any veteran activities in the area?
Yes.
You do?
Post 776.
American Legion.
American Legion always has some.
776.
Okay. Yeah, they have a lot of good programs and help out the community from that post.
Yeah,
So
Pat usually
Absolutely.
has some events. So there too.
cool.
We are always
I
working.
Yeah.
Participate in some activities at the VA. They have some. I think it was a self-care day.
Oh yes.
I forget
Oh,
what
I
it's
keep
called.
forgetting.
Cherish Women Veterans.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Yes, I love that. It's like a pamper day.
Yes.
You know, we need to be recognized for our service too and just be pampered. You know, we served and deserve, you know, just as much, no, not hating on the men, but we deserve, you know, our days. And now, do you guys see that they're doing more for women veterans these days? Yeah, I think so too.
The VA has done a good job.
Yeah.
The new women's clinic.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. I was just
They've
going
done
to
a
say
good
that.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have no shame in saying that I spent, I think it was 6 weeks out there in their PTSD program some years ago.
Yeah, same here.
Because I was a victim of domestic violence, and I was really happy that I was able to go and also just from a lot of just some pre-military things and just to be able to go through a program and even the aftercare.
Yes.
And so I am my what is that? My wellness toolbox, and I'm very glad to learn that I have the power that if things are not going well in my life to go into my toolbox, even if I need to go in there and get some crayons and just color, or listen to music, just warm bath, just the things that I learned at our Dayton VA.
Yeah, Dayton VA has been awesome. Actually, they pretty much saved my life. So I give them the props and everything for, you know, being there at the time that I needed them and, you know, giving back to those who were there for me. So yeah, they saved my life.
And it's kind of sad that there's still some negativity in the community about the VA. Oh, the VA, and you want to get me mad, you know? Like, wait a minute, whoa, what are you talking about? You know, the VA of this. I said, are you aware that the VA, you know, has this? No. And I just want to say, well, shut up, you know, unless, you
There's a
know.
lot of resources out there. You gotta go
Absolutely,
find them.
absolutely.
Yes. And if you don't know, I find the word of mouth, you know, is just, you talk to a veteran, did you know this? Or, you know, go over here if you need some financial help or, you know, housing. And it's like, share the information. You know, if you know something,
Yes.
share it, you know, to help another veteran. You know, don't keep it to yourself. Share it.
Yes, because I was just at a event, just a non-VA or non-veteran event, and I talked and I got into a conversation with a young lady and found out she was a vet and she had spent some time in the Navy, and she had a hysterectomy in the Navy, and I just asked her, well, are you getting some a disability for that? They didn't tell me, and so I said, "Go." They have the veterans reps at the VA, and so we exchanged numbers. And she called me and said my paperwork got started, and then she called me, about a month and a half later. She said my claim was approved. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Sharing the information.
Sharing the information.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What would you guys recommend or suggest to a young person that wants to join the military? how would you, share your gift of words of what you would say to them if they wanted to join the military today?
I would tell them to go ahead if that's their dreams, that everything that's here around them will probably still be here around them when they go and come back, and at least just give life a try.
Yeah. I felt, looking back, serving my country, I'm proud that I did it.
Yes.
Because one, it gave me a chance to travel, to meet some awesome people from around the world, to live overseas, which had I, went to college, maybe I wouldn't have been able to see some of the places that, I saw on TV growing up. And, it's just, every job that you have can be bittersweet. You have the good, you have the bad. But when I look at my whole military career, it was fantastic. I wouldn't trade those memories for the world. And I share them not only with my sons who are grown, but my granddaughters.
Yes.
To share, your Nana went to Paris, she went to London, those places where, you could only dream of doing, some of our kids, but to think outside the box, and take advantage of it and travel. So that's pretty much my lesson I learned.
And I tell people, I said, well, when people tell me thank you for your service, and I thank them, and I tell them, I said that every day that I served was an honor. I said, but not every day was a pleasure.
That's right.
I said, just like any other job.
Any other job,
Every
yeah,
day
yeah,
I
yeah.
served on active duty, it was an honor. And also, I follow that up by telling them, I appreciate your thanks, but I pass your thanks on to my brothers and my sisters, my Vietnam era brothers and sisters who did not get the thanks, who are in heaven. I said, I look to the heavens and I pass your thanks on to them.
Yeah, I would tell them to follow your dreams too, and to join. Like you said, my military career, I wouldn't change it for anything. It was a positive experience. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because it allowed me for a career. It allowed me to get my bachelor's. They paid for my bachelor's degree. It allowed me to have the career I have. Without the military, I came in as a supply system analyst, and that pushed me on to be a civilian in the government, to be paid well for what I do now. And without the military, I wouldn't have been able to be where I am now. So I would tell them it's a very positive experience. Like you said, to see the things that you're going to see and experience the things you're going to see, you can't trade that anyway.
Yeah.
Driving in England, going up on mountains, thinking, oh boy, you're crawling down your seat because you're scared, you've never been there before.
Right.
And to see planes land on the flight line, the stealths, just all those experiences that you get in the military, and it allows you just to grow and to be who you are. So it's a positive experience.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I was having a conversation with a veteran the other day, and she was suggesting every person after they graduate from high school, unless they go to college, should do at least a 2-year, or maybe even kind of like bring the draft back to be able to serve your country, get some training, and see some places, like I said, I watched on TV, so.
To know what it feels like to serve.
Yeah,
And see,
yeah.
In some of those countries, like Israel, those kids have to serve 2 years.
Yeah.
Automatically when they come in. So you get to learn how to serve. You should learn how to serve.
Yes, and if you want to stay longer, give you an incentive bonus to stay if you, if you want to stay. But I think it should be mandatory.
Yeah,
Myself,
yeah.
And I get a little perturbed when I talk to parents that says, I don't want my kid to serve. I don't want my kid in the military. But you are living in this country for, you are living under the freedoms that but it's okay that other folks step up to the plate. Really. And so I just kind of, no, Ethel, don't.
Yeah.
Because, you serve 20 years, you don't need to serve 20 years in jail. Because at least I'm getting compensated. 20 years in jail now.
Yeah. So, ladies, you have a card. Can you read each one your card? My show is called Inspired. So I got those for some words of wisdom to pass on to the viewers. And just read each one of your cards. And then if you feel like sharing, how the card, what it says, or the words touched you. Norea, you want to share yours first?
Expectation is everything. Every day can be your day if you expect it to be.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Everything is always possible before it works. R. Hunt Green.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
We do not need magic to transform our world. We carry all of the power we need inside ourselves already.
I agree
I
with
love
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I keep this?
Sure.
Mine reads, never sell tomorrow short. There's plenty to get excited about. Be filled with expectations, hope, and confidence. Believe something good is going to happen, and it usually will.
Yeah, amen. I agree with that one.
And my words are by William James. And he said, believe that life is worth living, and your belief will help you create the fact.
Now that's a good one. So what are those words right there? What is that? How does that make you? How does that touch you?
Again, I have to go back to the things that I learned in the PTSD program, that believe that what life is worth living. Because some days it may seem like, oh, I just need to end all of this, thankfully, I don't have those thoughts. But just to believe that life is worth living, and believing, as you say, your belief will help you create the fact. So
Yeah.
So yes,
That one touches me too, because I'm living proof today that my darkness has come to light. And look at me now.
Yes.
2009 was kind of like the year of my rock bottom. And I know different phases of our life, we have a rock bottom. And I look at myself in 2009 and today, she's not the same person. By the grace of God, I am not the same person. So you would have told me in 2009 I would be doing this. I'm like, who are you talking about?
Somebody behind you.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be me, so I know there's a God, because he's got me sitting here talking with you ladies today, sharing our experiences in the military. So,
absolutely, and to see that little baby that I adopted and became a single parent when he was 7, and never wanting to remarry, because I just didn't want to put anybody else over him, and to see him grow up and to take his place in society as a husband and a father. Life is good.
yes, it is.
All the glory to God.
Yes, it is.
Especially during them teenage years.
We all have one. Any other feedbacks that you have on your card?
Yeah, mine's never sell tomorrow short. And you're right. When you look back at where you started from and where you are today, it gives you the encouragement that, to just don't never sell tomorrow short. As long as you can wake up and you can breathe and you can see the sun rise and the flowers and the trees, and just be grateful and have gratitude and Thanksgiving, that's the way it makes me feel. And then it says there's plenty to get excited about. And, if you get excited about the small things, when the big things comes, you're like over the moon. So, and like I said, to be filled with hope and expectation and confidence, you have it inside of you,
Everyone,
Look at it
each
all
one of us
each
has
one
it inside of
us,
us.
all of
Yeah.
We have it inside of us.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So believe something good is going to happen, and it's going to happen.
Yes.
All you got to do is believe it.
Yeah. And with your card, I lost my mom in February this past year. And a few years ago, we had talked about me doing something like this. So it's so not weird, but just how things turn around that in her death, you know, this has come to surface, you know. So I don't look at tomorrow, I look like right this minute, today is not, you know, promise. You know, you look at each and every moment that we have that is, you know, you take it and run with it, you know. So in my mom's memory, this is what she wanted me to do. And I'm glad that I was able to fulfill that. Unfortunately, you know, she's seeing me in heaven doing it, but she's cheering me on, you know. So yeah, she's been my strength. So that one, she must have told you to pick that one for me. Okay. Anybody else want to share?
Mine said, we do not need magic to transform our world. And I think about our inner potential that we have, you know, living life to its fullest potential, like you mentioned. And I had a thought when we was talking about when I served overseas. The ladies over there, they don't have the same liberties that we have here.
Yes, definitely.
So one day when I was pulling guard, a vehicle had broke down, and it was like 5 or 6 ladies from Kuwait, and they was over there sitting by the vehicle, and they was all in a circle. And I remember one of the ladies, she looked over and she kind of snuck and waved to me. And this card kind of reminded me that, you know, we were there to transform their world, you know, trying to create liberty for them and over there in their country and democracy. So when I went to war, you know, a lot of us kind of didn't understand the full scope of why we were there and things like that.
Yeah.
But our service there helped a lot of people there. I believe our service there.
I absolutely, and thank you for serving. You know, some of us didn't do the wartime, so I definitely thank you for, you know, being over there and, you know, sacrificing yourself. I mean, we all did a sacrifice, but when it comes to the wartime, you know, that touches me because my son has been over there a few times, and I know how important the mission is. Well, ladies, we're almost out of time. I enjoyed this, and you know, we had to keep it together for our other veteran women, and so I thank you for being here today, and it's been awesome. So just want to thank the viewers for watching, and we'll see you next time. Oh, and also in memory of my mom, Barbara Gibson, Janae, my daughter, and to all my family and friends in heaven, thank you so much. And viewers, thank you for watching, and until next time.